to put this on. I thought it was a reasonable issue for us to at least hear. I've told the group that wanted to make a presentation that they had 10 minutes, that we weren't going to permit any other speakers, no other comments, just the comments from one presenter. And then subsequent to that, we could direct staff to take a look at it or not. So with that, good morning, and if you'd identify yourself for the record as well.
Yes, good morning. Joseph Bonasia.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Joseph Bonasia.
Good morning.
And on behalf of Citizens Climate Lobby, thank you for this opportunity. I just want to get the TV on.
Right. And we won't start your time until you get your presentation set up. And while you're getting set up, I think I'll remind the commission, I think Congressman Francis Rooney endorsed this concept. He may have been the only Republican congressman to do so, but at least there's one
co-sponsor,
happens to be local.
Along with several other Florida congresspeople. And I should add that there are municipalities and counties in Florida, Miami, Broward, Sarasota, that have already endorsed the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act because they see, as apparently this board does, the consequences and the costs of our climate crisis. So a carbon fee and dividend program, which is what the EICDA is the most cost-effective lever that we have to reduce carbon emissions on the scale that is needed in the time that we have. Who says so? Well, very notably, these people said so. These are former chairs of the Federal Reserve and 27 Nobel Prize-winning American economists, as well as a host of others who back in 2019 published a letter in the Wall Street Journal in which they went on to add that there is a well-known flaw in the market, and that flaw is working against the benefit of the planet. The Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act corrects that flaw. And I'd like to provide a very down-to-earth illustration of the basic principle so you understand just why this bill is so effective. Every day, thousands of Floridians go to Publix and they see a $5 head of broccoli organically grown and a $3 head organically grown. And even though they know, or certainly surmise, that the $5 head is better for the planet and for people, they end up buying the $3 head because they believe that it costs less. But it does not. Because that conventional farmer, unlike the organic farmer, is using synthetic fertilizers, which everyone here knows contributes to nutrient runoff, which exacerbates our blue-green algae blooms and red tides. 2 years ago, who paid to clean up those tens of thousands of tons of dead fish and other sea life on our beaches? We did, not the conventional farmer. That was a cost of his product that he passed on, he externalized onto us. And when people went to the doctor because they were suffering from cyanobacteria, when they brought their pets to the vets, who paid those bills? Not the conventional farmer. We did. That was another cost of that product externalized onto us. And when our restaurants and our bars and our hotels went nearly empty and our charter boats went uncharted, who suffered the economic cost? Who paid for that? Again, we did. That was an externalized cost onto that, cost that was not reflected in the price of that $3 head of broccoli. There is no Floridian who would take a couple of bags of fertilizer, walk down to one of our waterways, and dump it into the water. But effectively, that is what we do, purchase by purchase, 1,000 times a day, bit by bit. How do we correct this? Well, you have to make the cost of that $3 head of broccoli reflect, the price of that head of broccoli reflect all its costs. How do you do that? Put a price on fertilizer that is commensurate with all those costs I just mentioned. Now in order to protect his profit margin, the conventional farmer is going to have to raise his price. Here's the price of the $5 organic broccoli. Here's that $3. When you add on those extra costs, now price is going to reflect all costs. The consumer can make a fair comparison. And now, instead of thousands of people buying the product that damages our water, they're going to buy the product that restores our water. This is the way the market should work. Take the same sort of thinking and apply it to fossil fuels. Fossil fuels did not create Hurricane Irma, but they certainly made her bigger and stronger and more destructive. Who paid the $50 billion in damage costs? Fossil fuel companies? Nope, we did. That's an externalized cost. Every year, fossil fuel companies kill thousands of people and cost the American people $188 billion in health care costs. And that's, again, an externalized cost. Back in 2018, a government report, the product of 13 different federal agencies, concluded that no state in the union was going to incur as great an economic hit from climate change than with Florida. And when you look at our coastlines and you start considering sea level rise, then it's no wonder why. Who's going to pay the price for the sea level rise? You know who's going to pay. We're going to pay. So how do we correct this situation? You have to make the cost of fossil fuels apparent in its price. How do you do that? Place a tax or a fee commensurate with all these other costs that I just mentioned and many that I didn't. Put that tax on carbon. And that is what the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend does that. It starts at $15 a metric ton of carbon and it goes up. And the more it goes up, here's clean renewable energy right now, the price. Here's the price of fossil fuels, which people think are so less costly. When you start adding the price of all these external costs, you make it apparent in the price. Now the marketplace is leveled. The competition is fair and honest, the way the market is supposed to work. Then utilities and businesses and people are going to buy the clean renewable energy instead of the fossil fuel energy. That is the way the market works to restore the planet. Now, there's one thing you're probably thinking. Energy goes into everything we grow, manufacture, and transport. So is the price, or are the prices of virtually everything we buy going to go up? Yes. So how is the individual American going to pay for those increased prices? Well, this is where the dividend in the carbon fee and dividend program comes in. The government takes that money from the fossil fuel companies in the form of a tax or fee. It does not keep the money. If it kept the money, it would be a tax. It doesn't keep the money. It turns around and it distributes it to every single American in the country. Full share for an adult, half share for minors. Numerous studies show that approximately, at least at the beginning of the program, a family of 4 will get about $3,600 per year in this dividend, moving up to $4,800 over the years. And again, study after study shows that even after we use this dividend money to pay for the rising costs of everything, 80% of the population will come out ahead or break even. Institute a carbon fee and dividend program. Let the market work the way it's supposed to work. Let the competition be fair and honest. Correct that flaw. We will reduce carbon emissions 40% in 12 years, 90% in 30 years. You're going to save thousands of lives, and you're going to create 2.1 million jobs as well. I don't know how close I am to my time over here. I didn't expect you to convince everybody within 10 minutes.
Minute and a half, sir.
Okay, didn't expect everybody to endorse this right away, but I hope I have said enough to certainly.
Well, let me ask you a question, just so the commission understands what you are suggesting, and then what the ask, you need to tell us what the ask is in terms of action by the board. But this is federal legislation that obviously the Citizens Climate Lobby is supporting, and my assumption is that you're asking the board to get information about this. Perhaps you could provide some information in writing to us, and consider endorsing the is that what you're asking for?
That is what I am asking for. I do have some information with me today that I could leave you. I could certainly provide you with a lot more information.
All right.
I would ask that I am CCL's legislative liaison to Senator Scott. The senator wants to hear from his constituencies, and an endorsement of the Energy and Innovation Bill from this Board of Commissioners certainly would have impact.
Well, we will be able to take up this issue in September or October timeframe if you provide us, again, some additional information. Information from Senator Scott's office, I'm sure, would be very persuasive. Commissioner Taylor.
Yes, I just wish we had had this information prior to this being put on the agenda, and that's not a criticism, sir, at all.
Yep.
Because I think this is a critical issue. I think it's well thought out. I'm aware of this concept, but not in this detail, and I look forward to receiving that information.
Well, let me suggest then, if you'll provide us the written information you have, I'll make sure that the commission has an opportunity, after we get that information and do a little bit of research on our own, that we have an opportunity to take this up in the fall. I'll make sure it gets back on the agenda for discussion. Any other questions or comments? And thank you very much. If you'll leave the written information with the county attorney, or they'll distribute it to us.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, sir.